Imagine slipping into enemy territory at night, no backup, no rescue, and no official record that you even exist. This was the life of America's most secret warriors in Vietnam. Small teams who fought entire battalions, gathered intelligence where no US soldier was supposed to set foot, and survived missions so dangerous that every man was wounded at least once. They were called MACV-SOG, and they became the units the North Vietnamese feared the most. The Vietnam War was fought in a world of shadows, dense jungles, punishing heat, and a relentless enemy who knew the land better than any outsider. For over 20 years, American and South Vietnamese forces struggled against the North Vietnamese Army, known as the NVA. Battles raged in villages, rice paddies, and thick forests. Yet, while most of the fighting was visible to the world, another, far more secret conflict unfolded beyond public view. This was a war waged in silence, where men moved through hostile jungles and across international borders with no recognition and almost no hope of rescue if captured. It was a war fought by an elite group of Americans and their South Vietnamese allies who officially did not exist. Their missions were so dangerous, so clandestine, and so critical that every single member of these units was wounded at least once. They were called MACV-SOG, the Military Assistance Command, Vietnam, Studies and Observations Group. And in the dark heart of the Vietnam War, these men became some of the most feared operatives the NVA would ever face. Birth of a shadow force. MACV-SOG was formed in January 1964, a time when the United States was still escalating its involvement in Southeast Asia. On paper, the unit sounded harmless, just another military advisory group. In reality, it was a cover for an ultra-secret Special Operations Task Force unlike anything else in the U.S. arsenal. Their mission, to carry out reconnaissance deep behind enemy lines, sabotage enemy infrastructure, gather intelligence, and run psychological operations to destabilize the North Vietnamese war effort. MACV-SOG teams crossed borders into Laos, Cambodia, and even North Vietnam itself, places where the US government officially claimed it had no troops. To survive, SOG operatives were trained to the razor's edge. Small reconnaissance teams, known as recon teams or RTs, typically consisted of just 6 to 8 men, often pairing American Green Berets with skilled South Vietnamese, Montagnard tribesmen, or other indigenous fighters. Support elements, known as hatchet forces, specialized in ambushes, raids, and quick reaction rescues when recon teams got into trouble. These were soldiers who lived in the shadows, striking without warning and disappearing just as quickly. For 8 relentless years, MACV-SOG operated in this hidden world, gathering intelligence that shaped U.S. strategy while launching some of the most daring missions of the entire war. One of the most legendary operations took place on Thanksgiving Day, 1968. While most Americans back home were enjoying turkey and pumpkin pie, SOG operative John Stryker Meyer and his 5-man team, codenamed SC Idaho, were quietly inserted into Cambodian territory. Their mission was as bold as it was dangerous: locate 3 entire NVA divisions, roughly 30,000 enemy troops, and report their positions. Finding such a massive force might seem easy. Instead, the team unknowingly walked straight into the middle of the enemy. Within moments, they were surrounded by hidden encampments. If discovered, 6 men would face instant annihilation. The tension shattered when a South Vietnamese team member spotted movement and shouted a warning. Beaucoup VC. Beaucoup VC. Many enemy. Gunfire erupted from every direction. Meyer's team unleashed claymore mines and automatic fire, desperately breaking contact as they sprinted through the jungle. The NVA likely believed they were facing a much larger force. The 6 SOG men fought with the ferocity of 100, using every trick in their arsenal to stay alive. American helicopters raced back through enemy fire to extract the team, door gunners blazing to keep the NVA at bay. Against impossible odds, ST Idaho escaped, bringing back priceless intelligence about enemy movements. Operation Thundercloud, turning enemies into spies. Not every SOG mission was about firefights and ambushes. some relied on deception and persuasion. Operation Thundercloud was one of the boldest. The plan was simple in concept but incredibly dangerous. Find NVA soldiers willing to switch sides, recruit them, and send them back into enemy territory as undercover agents. These operatives would carry false documents, radios, and miniature cameras tools to gather intelligence while pretending to remain loyal to the North. Organized into 4 three-man teams by Captain Bud Williams, Thundercloud required absolute trust. Any recruited spy could betray the Americans at any moment, turning a secret drop-off into a deadly trap. Yet the gamble paid off. Many recruits returned with invaluable information about enemy troop movements and supply routes. Captain Williams later praised these men as very, very brave young men, whose efforts saved countless lives on both sides of the conflict. Operation Tailwind, into the heart of Laos. In the summer of 1970, another mission tested MACV-SOG's limits. NVA forces were threatening to overrun key positions in Laos. To divert their attention, a hatchet force of just 16 Americans and 110 Montagnard fighters was airlifted deep behind enemy lines. Their job: destroy supply depots, gather intelligence, and create enough chaos to pull NVA troops away from their main objective. The team fought its way through jungle strongholds, laying demolition charges and ambushing enemy patrols. The NVA counterattacked in waves, forcing the SOG operators into a brutal running battle that lasted for days. Despite heavy injuries, including wounds to every single American on the team, the hatchet force killed over 140 NVA soldiers while seizing a treasure trove of intelligence. Among their discoveries was a massive underground bunker stacked with maps, documents, and supply records, a logistical command center that provided the U.S. military with priceless insight into enemy operations. For all their skill, MACV-SOG paid a staggering price. The unit suffered a 100% casualty rate. Every single member was wounded, many multiple times. Capture by the NVA often meant torture and execution. Families back home were rarely told where their loved ones were operating or even that they were missing in action. For years after the war, the very existence of MACV-SOG remained a classified secret. Only in the 1980s did declassified documents and first-hand accounts begin to reveal the incredible risks these men took and the critical intelligence they gathered. MACV-SOG's missions helped slow the flow of men and supplies along the Ho Chi Minh Trail and forced the NVA to divert resources to guard their rear areas. Their operations saved lives by uncovering enemy movements long before major battles began. But their legacy is not just in numbers or victories. It lies in the courage of small teams who walked willingly into the most dangerous places on Earth, knowing that help might never come. They were ghosts, soldiers without recognition, fighting a war that officially did not exist. Today, MACV-SOG stands as a testament to the limits of human endurance and the extraordinary bravery of those who fight in the shadows. They were feared not because of their numbers, but because of their relentless skill, their ability to strike anywhere, and their refusal to give in even when outnumbered 100 to 1.